My name is Max Harcia, and I am currently a senior at Logan High School here in La Crosse. You will notice a number of high school students from Logan, Seven Rivers, and Central attending today's summit. The students are volunteering today on their day off to assist with this important community celebration. We are volunteering in part to demonstrate our thanks for all you do, seen and unseen throughout the community, in supporting us, the youth throughout the region. We know you all have a role to play, and we want you to know that you do it well. So on behalf of the youth in our Seven Rivers region communities, I extend a sincere thank you to all of you. And now, it is my privilege to introduce our first speaker of the day. Randy Nelson is Superintendent of Schools for the School District of La Crosse. In 1983, he started his professional journey as a high school speech, theater, and English teacher. And for the past 20 years, Mr. Nelson has supported learners as a school administrator who leads community members, staff, and students on a journey of school improvement with focus on relationship building and trust. He serves on the board of the La Crosse Promise, the La Crosse Public Education Foundation, the La Crosse Health Science Consortium, the United Way, and the La Crosse Community Theater. Randy enjoys spending his time with his wife and children and his grandchild Anna. And he likes sports, baseball and hockey being his favorites, and he loves a good game of golf. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Superintendent of Schools, Randy Nelson.
Thanks, Max. Good morning, everyone. So great to see you this morning. What about our band? This is outstanding. I was told, Nelson, you're first. You need to breathe life into the room. I don't need to breathe any life in the room. It all happened here for the last half hour or so. Great job. Thank you to our staff. Before I just have a couple of my own comments here and we get on with our keynote speaker, just want to make sure that I extend some thank yous that should be out there. We have several sponsors, and they are all around the room, and they're listed out in the hallways. Please make sure that you acknowledge the great support that we have from so many sponsors in our community. I want to thank Quick Trip for being one of our sponsors for breakfast this morning. Festival Foods and Bacalars for helping us provide lunch. As we are in here today, we have several community members out in the plaza, and they're grilling brats for us for lunch later today. Also, thank you to Rusty Cunningham and the La Crosse Tribune for helping sponsor that lunch as well, and also for their work in making that happen. Thank you to the staff here at the La Crosse Center for making things happen here. All the technology working and the setup works just great for us. So, today's discussion, today's theme is Know Your Impact. And I get just maybe 10 or 15 minutes to talk about Know Your Impact. My slides show up now? Thank you. So, let's just start here. I want to talk a little bit about small impact, and we're going to move to large impact. Okay? Because everyone kind of sits around and waits for other people to make things happen. What I want to share with you is that what happens in our classrooms every day has an impact without waiting for other people to do things. So, at the risk of having some chuckles in the room, this was me to the far left when I was 26. Okay, we just play another song. Do we need to play another song here? Wake up, people. Okay, come on. I've shared with you my stories, I know, ad nauseum, and I'm not going to share a lot of them with you today, except just to encapsulate it this way. As you know, that when I was a student going through school, our family really felt marginalized in the community. And I'm going to tell you, we're marginalized this much, and I see families today that are marginalized this much in our community. I was lucky. And some of the work that we did and some of the ways we felt to my family were a lot of self-marginalization. We felt that we were not a family that belonged in our community. We felt that we were not a family that was accepted in my community. Because in our family, we had alcohol addiction going on in the family. My father owned the bar. And for that, we hung our heads. And we failed to forget that in owning that bar, my dad put 5 kids, raised five children. from that. But in school, I can tell you, as I've shared before, that educators kind of came to my rescue. They helped me out along the way. I decided early that I wanted to be a teacher myself. In 5th grade, I wanted to be a teacher. And I played school at home in my basement until I was an 8th grader. Yeah, that's the way I felt too. So, as an 8th grader, I had this little station at home that my dad built for me, a little platform, and it had a desk on it. And it had this file cabinet. It was a cardboard file cabinet that I paid $7 for in some mail order thing, and I had it full. It was just absolutely, I almost thought it was ready to break apart. And inside of that, I had tests and quizzes that I had actually done. I had a manual typewriter, and the way I did it is I actually would go ahead and I would type. I would have 4 pieces of carbon paper with 5 pieces of and I would do the same. Because I had 20 students in my class, I had to do that 4 times. Created the quizzes. Then I took the quizzes. And what did I do? I took the quizzes with some of my classmates in mind, and I put their names at the top. And then I did on that quiz what I thought they would probably do on that quiz. And then I took a lot of excitement in taking that old red grade book, you know, the one that you had to flip over from class 1 to class 2 and you put paper clips at the top. You have to be a little bit older probably to understand that one. But that was a big, big deal for me to have this grade book. That grade book was given to me by my teachers. They went in the supply closet. Nelson, we know you want to be a teacher. Have this grade book. Nelson, we know you want a teacher. Here's a daily lesson plan book. Here you go, etc. They helped me out along the way tremendously. If you went into the basement of my home where I grew up right now, you would see in the basement, I actually, on the cinder blocks in the basement, straight out from where my desk was, I actually wrote the names of some of my classmates. So I could look out in the cinder blocks and I could talk to my classmates. I talked to my classmate Ron Guile more than I talked to others. Ron was in trouble quite a bit in school. When I was in 7th grade, Ron punched our science teacher, Mr. Porter, right in the middle of class, so hard that his glasses broke and his eyes started to bleed. And it all started with Mr. Porter going to Ron and say, Ron, you got to get going. You got to get to work here. And Ron said, no, I don't want to. Shut up. Mr. Porter says, Ron, you got to get going on this. And Ron stood up and boom, right in the middle of the face. Mr. Porter went down. These are things that I experienced. These are things that I was watching when I was in school, and they had an indelible imprint on me. But as I've shared with you before, educators came to my rescue. And one of those educators was my middle school principal, Mr. Paulson, and his staff. Actually, it was junior high at that time. His staff came up and they said, we got to help this Nelson kid. If we don't, he's going to fall through the cracks. Just got to help him out. We're going to be out in front with him. And here's my point for this morning. Mr. Paulson extended to me an invitation to go work with him at his house, to put up some drywall in his basement, to carry drywall, to pound nails and things because he was renovating his basement. He didn't have to do that. But something I want to assure you is that he didn't stop in the middle of that and say, you know what, Randy, you're behind in reading. So let's stop and do a little bit of a reading lesson. And he didn't look at me and say, at noon, hey, Randy, let's have a little bit of lunch. But while we do that, let's work on some mathematics. So it wasn't an academic intervention that Mr. Paulson felt was important for me. It was an intervention in belonging. It was an intervention in raising my own status with my classmates and in my school, so that I came into school, I would be acknowledged like anyone else would be acknowledged. That I could be part of everything that goes on in school. It changed my friendships. It changed my connections. It changed my trajectory. And I would share with you that at the smallest base of the work that we do every day in our classroom, it's that easy. Sometimes with the most challenging children, It can be that easy. We're La Crosse, Wisconsin. Beautiful place to be. I've enjoyed being here since 2008. What a wonderful place for me to raise my family and be part of the life that goes on here. That's not me on that board, by the way. That would be a little bit scary. You wouldn't be seeing me today if I were on that board, probably. But we've got a lot of things to be proud of here in La Crosse. We are, in many ways, a destination area. People come here from all over the place, whether it's to be here to be tourists or whether it's to be here and raise a family and be part of a home, for instance. And so we have a lot of great things going for us. A lot of great things going for us. And I would also say that one of the great things we have going for us is we have strong relationships with our post-secondary institutions. This is one of the things that makes La Crosse very unique, in that we have a Western College in town, and we have Viterbo, and we have UWL. And we have partnerships with all of them in various ways, and all meaning to help out ourselves, but also to extend more opportunities for students. But we also know that our community is facing its challenges. And when our community faces challenges, I always say that our community is our schools and our schools are our community. They happen side by side. The challenges that we face in the community are the same ones that we're facing at school, and the ones we face at school are happening inside of the community. And it's why what we've been doing for the last 8 years now, this being our 9th Rebuilding for Learning Summit, it's why we have been working outside of the school district with the community. Because I'm convinced, we are convinced, that if we really are going to be held accountable to closing all of our gaps, which we should be at the end of the day, that should be the goal for all of us. But we just believe that if we are going to do that, we cannot do it on our own. It's got to be in collaboration. And I am real proud of the work that we've done so far in this community because we have great collaborations going on. You know, many times people are looking for quick fixes. They're looking for a checkbox saying, well, we've done this and it's over. Or I've had that training, I've done this, I've done that. What are we on to now? What's the next flavor of the day? But this work that we're doing is so substantial. It's a box that's never going to be checked. It's a box that's never going to be checked. And the way we get there is going to be messy. It's just going to be messy. Education is a human endeavor. Where there are humans, there's going to be conflict, and it's going to be messy. It's inherently what our work is. Our journey has twists and turns all over the place. And so our collaboration with the city and also with the county has been happening for quite some time. But we've really been formalizing it for the last 8-9 years with this Rebuilding for Learning Summit, bringing staff together from the school district and also from the city, also from the county. And here we're talking about strong infrastructure. We get together on a regular basis with our city people and also with our county people. And these are things that we agree on are important. How do we make our work focus on these areas for strong infrastructure, strong neighborhoods? We've done a lot of things in neighborhoods for the last 8 or 9 years. Having strong youth and family, that should be all of our goal. Strong community, at the end of the day, is really what we're about. And then we've also, our why pieces. We have shared commitments and equity and justice, as well as service to each other. Shared expectations and collaboration. This is so key. We can't do this alone. It's going to require collaboration to make sure everyone's on a solid footing, both in our community as well as in our schools. A shared culture of humility, vulnerability, and transparency. Boy, I'll tell you, in our conversations, we have run into firewalls. We've run into things that we would have never run into had we not had these discussions and not started to talk about this. Some of these things get right down into that student level, all in support of what's happening inside of our schools and our community. This is the work of these 3 entities. Got a little bit of a video I'm going to try to share with you here that kind of outlines for the last few years what we've been doing here. Let's see how this works.
It's no secret that many children and youth struggle in the classroom because of stresses they face at home or in their neighborhoods. But schools can only do so much. It takes a community to help children be ready to learn. In 2005, the city, county, and school district of La Crosse joined together in partnership to improve the way they serve children and their families in our community. Together, they adopted ideas from a book called Rebuilding for Learning by Howard S. Edelman and Linda Taylor. And from that moment on, La Crosse's collaborative Rebuilding for Learning effort was born. This team set out on a mission of ensuring all children have the opportunity to succeed by addressing barriers that prevent them from coming into the classroom ready to learn. Children are at risk of not being ready to learn when they face barriers such as mental health issues, substance abuse, an abusive or neglectful parent, or basic needs not being met. Instead of just building a safety net that separates out the children who are at risk, the Rebuilding for Learning team envisioned a process that acts more like a trampoline, helping kids bounce back and building their resilience through a strong network of supportive services. In 2011, the team invited all kinds of youth and family service providers in the community for a summit to exchange ideas, share practices, and make plans for working together. As a group, they looked closely at both gaps and overlaps in our system of services. This summit led to the creation of a website to help agencies communicate better. Since then, each annual summit has introduced the community to trauma-informed practices and ideas for meeting the needs of all children. Since the first summit, support and participation from community agencies and businesses has grown, and the summits have attracted national attention. Since 2011, momentum from the Rebuilding for Learning work has led to many new and exciting ideas for the La Crosse community to improve the way it supports youth and families. In a new partnership called the La Crosse Area Family Collaborative, the county and school district embedded social workers directly into high-risk neighborhoods and schools, where they can work directly with families in need of assistance right when they need it. A comprehensive system of care was created to intervene early on with youth who are at risk of entering the juvenile justice system and to work with them to address difficult behaviors. This partnership was the first of its kind between our school district and county. A new group representing multiple youth-serving efforts joined forces to build a new framework to mobilize and guide community efforts in a shared vision of building a resilient and trauma-informed community where children and families feel safe and loved. La Crosse is a community with a rich history of collaboration. This culture of working in partnership for the common good joins together neighbors, agencies, institutions, and governments to ensure that every person can and needs to be part of the solution for our children and families. From collective intention to collective impact, together we can build a brighter future for our community.
So I want to tell you that last spring, several of us went to Kansas City. We were invited to present at a national conference and share the things that have been happening here in our community and in our schools. And this was a video that we brought with us. This video actually was done by one of our graduates from Central High School. Ruben Steindorf did that video, and it was great. He did a nice job for us to kind of encapsulate everything that we've done. Here you can see this is that trampoline that you saw in that video. This is all about our work in resilience. It's our own framework in our community. This is something that we're owning as a school, but also at the city and also with the county as well. And our job really right now is to disrupt the cycle and to do the work that's out in front of us. We have several partners that have come along with us over the last several years to make this happen. What started as a group of about 125 people, now we have over 1,000 people who are here and involved with this particular process every year when we do this. And then there's this. You know, I've always wondered why somebody doesn't do something about that, and then I realized that I was somebody. So everything from what we do in class and how we connect with the child every single day makes a difference. It might feel small, and it might feel complicated, and it might feel difficult, but it makes a difference. And today, we want to talk about that. Today is full of all the possibilities that are out in front of you. It's going to be an outstanding day to talk about the work that we're doing, to understand the work that we're doing, and I will tell you, fundamentally, the work that we're doing is to change our why we do this. And it's why it's not a checklist. It's why it's not a training that you check off. It's why it's not just a course that we check off. Well, I've had that course. This is long-standing. Well, this being the last opportunity I'll have probably to be in front of all of you, I want to thank you as your superintendent of schools. I still have a few months left to go, and we're going to try to navigate those as best we can. But I want to thank you for all of your work, and I want to thank you for taking a journey with me for the last 8 years and into this 9th year. I want to thank you for stepping back. I want to thank you for building relationships with children. First and foremost, if we don't have the relationships, the academics are not going to happen. The academics are not going to happen. I want to thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for taking the journey.